Hi, welcome back. I wanted to do a after the pin share of my quick trip up to Reading to visit my father-in-law and my husband's family. I took my traveler's notebook. This is not like the real traveler's notebook. I picked this up on Amazon, but I did take this instead of taking my Hobonichi A6 Techo. Thinking that I would have time to doodle, hopefully had time to sketch, do those fun things. But I didn't have any time. So this is what it looked like. And then these are flyers that I picked up. And because they're too big to fit in here, I think I'm just going to save them as is instead of cutting them up and then keeping it with my notebook and saving it that way, so that way I don't have to cut it up, because I'm hoping one day we'll have time. Bruce was quiet before I started filming, so I'm so sorry if you can hear him. So anyway, so I doodled in a ticket for 2022. I mean to color him. I want to color him in, but I haven't done it yet. So I live in LA and went up to Reading. This is supposed to be the state of California. The distance is 545 miles. We drove up from LA to Reading. It took us 8 hours and 5 minutes. And so just a quick, I guess, story time. This is the week that my husband was to go fishing with his brothers and my father-in-law. But again, my father-in-law, we discovered is sick. He has cancer. And so I decided to tag along and spend the weekend up there with his dad and again, his family. So my husband drove up there and I flew back down, and the flight was 1 hour and 45 minutes from Reading to LA. So that's why I wrote it down like this. And my husband was there for more than a week. I decided to doodle in a packing checklist. And so I did a little Hollywood LA sign. So that looks like this. This is Friday night, and so I did a little doodle of Reading. It's supposed to be Mount Shasta, so I first sketched it with pencil, and then I watercolored it in, so that's what that looks like. This is Bruce watching us pack. We left early Saturday morning, and I use a Canon selfie, and then I have my iPhone, which is what I'm filming on, to print off of my Canon selfie. So these are pictures that I took. So we left early Saturday morning, and I'm sorry if you see dust and hair. If you watch my previous video, we are installing central air and heat, and so after I get these videos uploaded, my intent is to try to get the house cleaned up and get all the dust wiped off and stuff, because the house is still in a mess and we're still not done. But getting back to this, we stopped here for gas. I don't know where this was, but this was at Anderson's Pea Soup in Santanella. So that's what this is. So we were across the street at the gas station filling up and had a bathroom break. And then meanwhile, while we were up here, my brother was nice enough to house sit and dog sit for us, because Bruce needs his heart medication twice a day, and I wanted somebody home with him to keep him company. So this is what Bruce looked like when my brother showed up at 6:16 in the morning. This is Bruce after he had breakfast, and if you look carefully, you can see the cat sitting outside the door. And it was funny. My brother was telling me he kept the door open, but the cat wasn't sure if he wanted to come in or not, because he didn't recognize my brother. So here was the sunset. So back to us. While we're still driving, we were getting the sunrise, not a sunset, sunrise. And this is basically what the roads look like as we were driving. This is Sacramento. I took a picture of the sign. While I was looking at that, my brother was hanging out with Bruce on the couch. Sign of Reading. And then once we left Stockton, there were a lot of fruit trees, and I couldn't figure out what the fruit trees were. So to go ahead and age myself, when I was a kid and we used to leave LA to go to San Diego to visit, there used to be a lot of orange trees between LA and San Diego, you know, in Orange County, which is why it's called Orange County. There were a lot of fruit trees there, a lot of orange trees. And then obviously over the years, the fruit trees were cut down. Lots of buildings and towns were built. So I haven't been up to Redding in, I think, more than 10 years, about 10 years, because I was up there for our wedding party thing up there. But anyways, these trees, it was so amazing to see all these trees along the 5 freeway. And it turns out that my mother-in-law told me, as well as my sister-in-law, they think that it's almond trees that they're planting now along the 5 freeway. So it was nice to see so many trees up there as you're driving up. Back home, Bruce is still hanging out with my brother. Cat finally came in, and then my brother did a selfie with Bruce and the cat. Meanwhile, we made it to Redding, so here we are. I took a picture of my father-in-law while he was resting. So obviously, I have personal photos covered up, so that's what those are. My mother-in-law had a really nice bouquet, so I took a picture of that. And all this that you're seeing, all the writing, is what I did when I came home. Because I think I was up there, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so 3 days. Here's Bruce, giving a, I don't know, looking at my brother. My husband and his brother. So after breakfast Sunday, my brother-in-law and his wife, my sister-in-law, and their kid, their daughter took us hiking to this bridge. And it's called the Sundial Bridge at Turtle Bay. And it was beautiful. It was quiet, it was peaceful. It was just really, really nice. And so that's what it looked like. So we walked across the bridge and then we turned around and looked back. So this is what it looks like. So you can see it here. So this photo, we were on that side of the bridge. So this is where you start walking. When you get to the end, you're right here, which is also right there. So we started hiking. It was a really nice trail along the Sacramento River, which is right here. And so we got to this point. I'm not too sure what they call this. It's a fishing viewing facility, which is right over here. And apparently when it's open, you can go in there, and I guess there's like glass floors, or I don't know, a glass wall, and you can see the fish. You can see wildlife in the water. So I thought that was pretty neat, but it wasn't open for us. So then we started walking back. Here's a photo of some geese. Sacramento River. My sister-in-law spotted this gigantic nest up on top of this bridge thingy. So up in Redding, there are a pair of eagles that are famous, quote unquote, on YouTube. And so I was hoping to see them, but we didn't see them. We're not in the right area either. But we did find a nest. She found a nest. So it's some sort of raptor nest. Not too sure who. So I kept writing, and then Monday was my last day there. My mother-in-law's best friend brought in some homemade biscuits and gravy, which was really good. First time I ever ate it. And I think she called this homemade potatoes. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but this meal was really good. More notes from me. And then my brother. Meanwhile, back at my house, Bruce, they were really enjoying themselves. Same with the cat. And my mother-in-law took us to Whiskeytown Lake. It was also beautiful, quiet, peaceful, compared to Los Angeles. It was really, really nice. It was so green, and I really enjoyed that. So James K. Carr, who was the Undersecretary for the Department of the Interior during John F. K's administration. He's a Redding native, so that's him right there. And so I don't know, I thought it was really neat. that's what it looks like. And so this was on this guy right here, this information thing. So we were right there when I took this photo. So you can see how big it is. And there is salmon in the lake, which I thought was pretty neat. Then we ran some errands, headed home. So here's my flight ticket that I printed out, and that is it. Okay, here we are at the airport Monday evening. My husband dropped me off at the very small airport that they have. So this is, I think, Alaskan Air. So this wall was just gigantic windows. And then so here's my flight to go home. And I think my picture's in here. Yeah, so let me put my... So that's me right there. This is my view out the window. Got a free bottle of water. This was the view of the sunset once we took off. And then before I left, my mother-in-law was making pork and beans, which is, I guess, one of my husband's favorite meals. That is from his dad's recipe. And so I took down the recipe and took photos of it, and we'll be trying to make it here at home for him. So this is what it looks like before everything starts, you know, simmering. And this is what it looks like when it's done. And I think that's it. That is it. So this is my traveler's notebook of my trip up to Redding from Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago to visit my father-in-law. And then here are a couple of flyers, again, that I don't really want to cut up. And then I'm just going to, and then this is like the newspaper. So what I plan to do is just slide it back here like this. I'm going to color this up, but then keep it together like this. There are blank pages in the back, which I had kind of hoped to finish using up. I'm not too sure yet what I'm going to do with the back end of the back pages, but for now I'm going to leave it like this, other than coloring the front. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you would like to see more videos, not necessarily like this. I generally do after the pen videos of my planners, and I will see you guys later. Have a good week. Bye.